How's it going, selectors, and welcome back to our ongoing Welcome Back Diva deck tech series. Today we're going to be talking about URITH. This deck, unlike the previous deck we did, is mono black, whereas the Tama deck that we just did is mono white. I figured we'll match that with its opposite counterpart, mono black. This deck is very different than the previous deck. This deck focuses a lot on mill and other more controlling-ish kind of effects, whereas the other one was about creating a big wall and killing your opponent with Tama. This one's a little bit trickier, So yeah, let's talk about it. We'll start, as always, with the Elrig deck. We'll kind of show off the back here, one of my favorite Shadowverse sleeves. We've got the Psycho Pump here. Anyway, so we have URITH, a Maniacal Enma. So this is our level 3 URITH, and she's got, as you would guess, a wall of text. It says so it costs 2 black. They all cost 2 of the color, but it says enter, add up to 2 target black signy from our trash to our hand. This is a mono black deck. All the cards are black, and all the L rings are black. Action, once per turn, for 0, it says declare a number of 1 to 3, then put a number of cards from the top of your deck into your trash equal to the declared number. So it's a way to mill ourselves so we can get some recursion value out of some other effects. And then it says auto once per game, discard 2 cards. This Elrig gains auto once per turn. When this Elrig attacks, add target card without a guard from our trash to our life cloth until end of turn. And I'm sorry, it's not without a guard, without a burst effect. So you just get a non-burst card into your life cloth. So yeah, like I said, kind of controlling, able to get some life back. It's a very interesting deck, and I think it's actually quite a bit of fun. Also, just like playing a mono black deck finally is something that I've been looking forward to in Wixoss. So that's the level 2. We have this is a level 2 URITH. We have level 1 URITH, and then one of my favorite promo Japanese URITH with another character that we're going to be playing with, actually, one of our Signy. Another thing that I really like about this deck is I decided to use Toko in this deck instead of Machina, because many of the other decks that you're going to be seeing here use Machina, and I didn't have enough Machina cards, and I was looking through alternatives for Machina. I was like, you know what, Toko's actually kind of a baller. So yeah, much like we were running Anji in the Tama deck, we are running another Sambaka character, Toko. And I just really like Toko. So the level 2 is a great 2-for-1. So it's just for 2, a main phase timing, vanish up to 2 target Signy on an opponent's field. It's just a great 2-for-1, which is incredible. Yeah, this is just a really good card for clearing lanes. And then our assist Toko level 1 costs 0, and it says target Signy on our opponent's field gains minus 8,000 power until end of turn, which is pretty relevant. We do have some cards that care about minus power. And a lot of folks ask that are new to Wixoss, yes, if your opponent's, if any Signy is reduced to 0 power, it is immediately vanished, right? And then, of course, we have just the level 1 Toko, or the level 0 Toko. For the other Elrig, we are running Deus, which is one of my personal favorite characters. Absolutely love Deus. So this is Deus Shield for the level 2. Costs 3 to play and has main and attack phase timing. And once again, a giant wall of text. This is just, as you would guess, it's shield. It really protects us, which is something we really want to do. We really want this kind of way to give ourselves another turn, even though URITH can do that as well. And it says, the next 2 times you would take damage this turn, instead you do not take damage, and this Elrig gains, at the end of your turn, put the top 5 cards of your deck into your trash. So it's a way to self-mill ourselves, but also a way to prevent some damage. And it also has another enter effect of enter for a black and 2 of any of the next time you would take damage this turn. Instead, you do not take that damage. And this Elrig gains auto until end of turn. Put the top 5 cards of your deck into your trash until end of turn. Or the end of your turn. So yeah, so basically, you would mill yourself for like a total of 15, but you get to prevent 3 for a total of 6 here. Milling yourself for that much can be kind of a hindrance, but also, not with all the recursion that we have. We also have Deus Drive. This is our level 1, cost 0. Vanish target level 2 or less Signy on our opponent's field. So just another way to clear lanes and to push damage. And then we have our level 0 Deus. Shout out to Lucky Yuki. Go support her on Patreon. She does really cool custom cards like this. For our peace cards, this was another situation where I just kind of ran out of Xenocluster. So Xenocluster is a card that these decks typically run. So instead of Xenocluster, I decided to use Curirian. It's always hard to pronounce this. We got Fist Pump. This is just a cool card because its main phase, attack phase, timing costs 0, and you get to draw a card and enter charge 1. So just really good. Kind of does what Xenocluster does, but you get both effects. But you get them always because you don't have to wait until you get inner burned or have to discard. I don't know. It's a toss-up, but I still really like this card. And then, of course, we are running Death deck because we will be milling the crap out of our opponent. We're milling ourselves too, but we're also milling the crap out of our opponent. So Death deck costs 3, 2 black, and 1 of any. Just main phase timing. You have to have 2 black Elrig on your field to play this. Target Signy on our opponent's field gains minus 12,000 power until end of turn. Then choose one of the following for every 10 cards in our trash. So once again, we actually want to mill ourselves, right? So cards like Deus Shield help us with that. Cards with like URITH help us with that. So we actually do want to do that to maximize our Death deck effect. You can't activate the same one multiple times. So we basically want 20 or more cards in our trash to get both of these effects. So the first effect is add up to 2 target Signy that share a color. They're all black. This is a mono black deck. With our center Elrig from our trash to our hand, so we get 2 cards back, which is great. And it says put the top 10 cards of our opponent's deck into the trash, which is also great. So we get a mill our opponent for 10 and then get 2 things back. So yeah, Death deck is great for this strategy. Let's move this all over here and let's talk about the deck. So I think I like doing life bursts first. So let's talk about our life burst cards first, and then we'll talk about our 20 non-life burst cards. So starting out with the life burst cards, we are running the new Dark Tama. So this is just Tama Memoria, but it's the Dark Tama. 10,000 power. The burst effect is vanish target level 2 or less Signy on our opponent's field. So great effect here. It has a constant. As long as you have 10 or more cards in your trash, once again, we have the whole self-mill strategy here. This Signy gains plus 3,000 power and has Shadow level 2 or less Signy, which is pretty good. So that bumps us up to 13,000 power, and we will almost always have 13,000 power. And it says also constant Signy on our field and enter zone additionally are black. They're already all black anyway, so I guess this affects the, it turns our shield or guard cards or servant cards, that's what they're called, black, which is good. Auto, once per turn, when a black Signy leaves our field outside of our main phase, put the top 2 cards of our opponent's deck into their trash, so it helps mill our opponent. We're running a full 4 of the Dark Tama. And then we also have Iona Mirage, Doomed Evil. This is a great card that I'm actually running in multiple decks here. This is one of the cards that you have to play on top of another card. You have to play this on top of another Signy. It has the Rise effect. So it says, Rise, place on top of a Signy on your field. So you just have to place it on top of another Signy. You can't place it not on top of another Signy. It also has Enter for a resource. Target Signy on your opponent's field gains minus 8,000 power until end of turn, which is great. And it also has a burst effect of add a Signy without a guard from our trash to our hand or put it on the battlefield, which is very, very important. Putting on the battlefield is super, super important to protect our lanes and our life cloth. We're running 3 Iona Mirage. It's just a really, really good card. We also have Typhon, Doom Evil. This is a level 2, 8k power. Let's talk about the burst effect. You may discard a card. If you do, target Signy on your opponent's field gains minus 12,000 power until end of turn, which is good. Kills almost anything. Constant, as long as this Signy is awakened, it gains plus 7,000 power, which makes it absolutely freaking huge. It makes it 15,000 power. And in order to awaken it, enter exceed 3. So you can take 3 cards underneath your Elrig and put them into the Elrig trash to awaken this. We don't have a lot of exceed effects, so that's pretty good. Makes a really, really tough Signy to deal with. We're running 2 of these. We're also running Buckler High Arm. This is purely for the burst effect. So this is a 2-drop Signy, 10,000 attack, but it does have this really good burst effect. You can pay 1. If you do, target Signy on your opponent's field gains minus 15,000 power until end of turn, which is great. Once again, kills almost anything. We're running 3 of the Buckler. We have this one of Tamaki Fumino code 2434. So basically this is stepping in for one of my Epitoms. So we have the servants, right? Because you always run the servants. But let's talk about these 4 cards. Now these 4 cards are purely for life burst only, and Tamaki here has literally the same burst effect as Ipetom. Most of the decks I saw just ran straight for Ipetom, so it's just a 1 for 5,000, and it says target Signy on opponent's field gains minus 8k power until end of turn as the burst effect. And Tamaki is literally the same thing. Target Signy on opponent's field gains minus 8k power until the end of turn as the burst effect. But this one is a level 2, and it has 10,000. You can really just put in the Ipetoms if you think you need more level 1s, but I like having the level 2. And also, I just had a foil one, so I was like, this is cute, but I want to use this one. So that's that. That's the burst cards. Now let's talk about our non-life burst cards, and this is where things get spicy. Okay, so we have Lucifer, Doomed Evil Queen, which I think is URITH's like signature Signy, which I think is really cool. So Lucifer is a 10,000 power Signy, and it says at the beginning of your attack phase, target Signy on your opponent's field gains minus 2k power for each black Elrig on our field. We have all black Elrig, so that's every attack phase you get to give something minus 6k, which is great. It also says if its power becomes 0 or less, yada yada, put it into the. Oh no, this is important. It says if its power becomes 0 or less by this effect, put up to 2 cards from your opponent's deck into the trash. So if this effect kills one other Signy, you get to mill them for 2, which is great. It also says auto turn 1 or once per turn, discard 2 cards, and then you can add a black Signy from your trash to your hand. So it's a great way to get recursion on all the stuff that we're dumping into our trash. So really, really good. Running the full 4 of these. We also have a big old mill card here. We have Phalaris, Code Ancients. This is not the last time you'll see this in these decks. I have another mill deck that runs this as well. This is a Harmony card. So that means when you play this, you have to down 2 upped Elrig on your field, which is fine. You know, you just down the 2 your 2 assists, but it makes it difficult to play multiple in a turn. And it's a really cool ability. So it has 12,000 attack, which is relevant. And it says, whenever the Signy vanishes a Signy on your opponent's field through battle, put the top 10 cards of that player's deck into their trash. This is great. It basically is like almost assured damage, even if they're just, you know, walling up. So this actually makes it so actually attacking and killing your opponent's Signy gives you some form of value. So we're running 2 of these. The reason we're not running more is just it's really difficult to play because you have to do the harmony effect. So you can't really play 2 at a time. So just getting 1 of these in your hand is, or getting 2 of these in your hand makes it so you can't really play both of them. And also we have so much recursion that you're gonna probably be able to get this consistently. We also have Iona Memoria, another one of my favorite returning characters. This is another 10,000 attack, and it says, constant, the Signy in front of this Signy must attack if able. So it forces our opponent's Signy to attack, and it must attack before other Signy, which is also important. Auto, whenever the Signy attacks, you may pay 2. If you do, vanish target Signy on our opponent's field whose power is different than its originally listed power, which is really, really cool. So if it got buffed or if it got, you know, negatived, minused from any of our minus effects, we can vanish the Signy, which is great. This is a great way of dealing with all those really, really big Signy that Tama runs. It also says if this Signy entered the field from the trash, target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 1,000 power until end of turn. So that's a great way to just give it that minus 1,000 so you can then pay the 2 to get rid of it. We're only running 1 of these, but once again, it's pretty easy to get it back through all of the other effects that we have going on here. We also have Dark Energy, and I do believe we're only running 1 Dark Energy. Dark Energy is great. It says 10,000 attack, auto once per turn. Whenever the power of a Signy on your opponent's field becomes 0 or less, enter charge 1. Really, really good in conjunction with our Lucifers and all of our other minus effects. Just getting that enter charge 1. It also has enter for a black target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 5k power. Kind of fuels itself. Just a really good card. And once again, the 1 of is almost good enough because we have all this mill effects and all of this recursion. It'll be decently easy to get back these 1 ofs. Next up is Caesar, Wicked General. This card is great. So this is a 2-drop Signy with 5,000 attack, and it says enter for a black if you have 7 or more cards in your trash. You likely will. This Signy gains constant as long as the Signy is the Signy in front of this Signy has power 5,000 or less, this Signy gains Assassin until end of turn. And Assassin means you get to attack your opponent's life cloth directly, which is great. So it just bypasses, skips over the smaller Signy. So you want to play this in a lane where your opponent has a small Signy. Really good stuff here. Also, you can give it minus. You can give the Signy in front of this minus through any of these other effects, so you can attack directly as well. Next up, we have Hanare, or Hanare Memoria, another returning character, another awesome character. This one, you know, feeds into the effects that we want to go here. You see the thing that we're trying to do. We're trying to give our opponents negative power, and it synergizes with all of the other stuff, all of the graveyard shenanigans, the discard pile shenanigans. This one does that as well. So you can activate this, and target Signy on opponent's field gets minus 1,000 power on the turn. If you have 15 or more cards in your trash, it gets minus 3,000 power. Really good for a 1-drop, or for a level 1 Signy. We're running a full playset here. This one is just the alternate art one. We're also running Baphomet. This is the Japanese version of Baphomet, but it's a pretty simple card. It's a level 1 Signy, has 3,000 attack. When you play it, you put the top 3 cards of your deck into your trash, and if you have 5 or more cards in your trash, it gets plus 4,000 attack. So just a simple card, but fits the strategy here. Milling ourselves, and also just kind of gets a little bump there, so it's more difficult to vanish. And then finally, the last card in our deck is Fragorak, Light Armed, or Lightly Armed. I don't know why I keep taking out that L here, but this is just a level 1 Signy, 2,000 attack. Enter, target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 2,000 power until end of turn for a resource. Just a really good, efficient level 1 Signy. And once again, it feeds into all the other effects, all the other negative effects like Hanare, and activates our dark energy and all of that kind of stuff. One of the best parts about this deck is that it's a pretty cheap deck to build. There's not a lot of super expensive cards in here. Dark energy can get up there a little bit, and this one's probably the most expensive card in the deck, the Phalaris. But most of the other level 3s are not that bad at all. So this is a deck that is a lot of fun to play. Like I said, I did get this from a tournament-winning Japanese deck. Not exactly a meta deck in the US English meta, but I still think it's a lot of fun. And if you want to play a mono black deck, this is kind of your best bet right now. So yeah, that is the deck for today. Once again, a lot of fun. Next deck will be very similar to this URITH deck with Pyrolyk. We'll see you next time.